All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Race number one. We'll see Giancarlo and Nick Sorensen on the front row. Avery Walker and Max Gunther have the second row. The only member of Team Gunther that will make it today. Harry Volsmere and Adam Barker on the third row. Simon Zierk, Jason Miller rounding out the field this morning. Drivers starting to line up on the front straightaway. Get ready for the start of this one. Just about 2.4 miles around this track. And forgot to check the track temperature this morning, but it was not a hot one. No, 81 degree track temperature. 76 degrees is the air temperature, so these guys will not be sliding around as much as we have seen. Early season, we saw some extreme track temperatures, but seems to have calmed down a bit coming into the last few weeks. Porsche pace car sitting out there waiting for everybody to take the grid this morning. Everybody on the grid, the pace car about to start rolling. It's such a Porsche-dominated field this morning that the pace car is even in a Porsche. Off towards turn one, they're going to go around one lap of pacing, and some of these guys will be working on warming up the tires here. See that big bump on the inside of turn one. A lot of drivers, there's a few of those throughout the track. No big slowdown penalties on those, but a lot of guys use them and hitting them, almost jumping the cars coming through those turns. Remember, first race 20 minutes long. A sprint race, they will not need to stop for fuel. Race 2, they will have to make a pit stop, more of an endurance race, and the top 7 from race 1 will invert for race 2. Giancarlo going to lead him down for race 1. Will this be another Giancarlo dominated morning here? They pull out onto the short chute coming out of turn 3, down toward the final section of track and getting ready to go. Right through there is where Adam Barker was experiencing, and up here through this section was where he was experiencing some of those graphical problems. Could come into play for Barker this morning. And will that be a factor in the championship fight? Pace car is on pit road as they come through the final turns. Giancarlo will control the start here as they come out of the final turn down toward the famous yard of bricks for the start. They're firing Green flag is in the air at Indy. And Giancarlo, a massive start. Gets way out front right off the bat. Here comes Avery Walker, already looking for second place. He's got it as they go off into one. Down into the right-hand sweepers. And onto that back straightaway. Now Avery into second place. Sorensen in third. Harry now up to fourth. Max Gunther in fifth. Adam Barker holding on in sixth. Simon Zierk in seventh, struggling with the BMW here this morning. And Jason Miller in eighth in that Mercedes. Giancarlo quickly to the lead as he goes off back onto the short chute. Max Gunther and Adam Barker have gone off track. Two of the top points contenders. Max just goes a little wide. Adam goes a little wide, not quite as wide. They both get back on track. Meanwhile, Giancarlo leads lap one. Avery trying to close the gap in second. Max Gunther took a big hit here. He is now way back there trying to fight his way forward. Looks to the outside on Simon Zierk through turn one, a little bobble. Adam Barker, meanwhile, now up into fifth place. Harry into fourth. Harry hanging right on Sorensen's back bumper. Avery now 1.1 seconds behind the leader in second place, trying to close that gap down. Looks like Harry is getting a bit aggressive out here early. It looked like he was going to try and make a power move. Coming off the back straightaway, didn't get in position. Max Gunther still battling with Simon Zierk. He's got the run to the inside now. As they come through that final section, Max has the nose ahead. Simon still trying to power by. Max pulls ahead just barely. Yep, he gets it. Max Gunther now back into sixth place. Back up front, Giancarlo has opened that lead now to 1 1/4 seconds over Avery Walker. Sorensen staying in Avery's slipstream in third. Harry hangs on in fourth. Adam Barker trying to close that gap back in fifth. Max Gunther currently sitting in sixth place, trying to pull back up after that lap one going wide out into the grass. Avery Walker, Nick Sorensen, the two closest right now. They continue to battle it out. Harry Volsmere trying to stay within striking distance. Adam Barker is starting to close the gap on Harry now. Oh, he gets a little bit much of that curbing. Manages to hold on to it. Max Gunther currently back in sixth. Simon Zierk running in seventh. Jason Miller running in eighth. Despite struggling in a few recent races, Jason Miller currently sits seventh in the points. Just 12 points behind Giancarlo. Giancarlo, though, may open up that gap just a little bit this morning, since he is currently out front by almost 2 seconds now. 3 laps in, continues to open up a gap. Avery Walker cannot get away from Nick Sorensen. And once they start battling, Harry Volsmir is going to close in. Giancarlo still way out front. 2-second lead now and continuing to grow. Adam Barker was gaining on Harry Volsmir, but Harry has cranked it up. Now Adam just over 2 seconds behind Harry. And Max Gunther, trying to recover, has almost caught back up to Adam. Max, after the sweep last week at Rudskogen, second, came into this morning second in points, closing the gap on Adam Barker. Max has been getting faster and faster, and let's talk about that second race last week. Max, the only driver that did not have to make a pit stop, managed to stretch his fuel and pull off a big win in the second race last week. And ended up with more fuel left than anybody else on track. Don't know how he pulled that one off when everybody else pitted and took fuel. I don't think we'll see another another situation like that anytime soon. Definitely not a lot of tracks that will lend themselves to that kind of fuel saving. Giancarlo continuing to lead now. 2.6 seconds is the lead. Sorensen still haunting Avery Walker's back bumper. Harry now 1.25 seconds back, but trying to close the gap as these two continue to fight it out. Adam Barker, meanwhile, has Max Gunther right to the back bumper, just 0.8 seconds back and gaining. Max has gotten faster all season long. His results have definitely shown it. He is going to be a tough competitor going into next season. Definitely one to watch for the championship. Could very well, with this week and next, could very well even pull off a title this season. Max definitely using every bit of the track and closing the gap quickly on Adam. Giancarlo continuing to extend his lead now, almost 4 seconds over Avery in the Ferrari. Nick Sorensen starting to look for a move on Avery as Harry is really closed in on him. Halfway through this one and still a lot of positions up for grabs here. Oh, Avery goes wide, and so does Sorensen. Harry's going to sneak through and pick up 2 positions here. Harry Volsmir now into second place. What a move. And Adam Barker is there. Max Gunther is there. 2nd through 6th place, all nose to tail now. Giancarlo, meanwhile, took the opportunity with Avery and Nick going wide. Giancarlo's lead now over 5.5 seconds. Avery looking back to the inside on Harry. He's got position. Harry pulls ahead out of turn 2. It gets a little dicey as Sorensen tries to come by. Now it's Sorensen and Walker trying to battle it out. Adam Barker right behind him. And Max Gunther is lurking. Avery sets himself up to the inside as Sorensen tries to go wide. Can't get there. Barker looked for a move there, couldn't find it. These 5 cars still battling for every position. Harry trying to pull away. Harry always does an amazing job of putting himself in the perfect position that if anybody makes a mistake, he can capitalize on it like he has done here this morning. But look at this. Avery looks to the outside as they go for one. Avery side by side. Harry outbreaks him into one. Adam Barker side by side with Sorensen. Adam to the inside. Now Barker up into 4th. Sorensen fights back. Sorensen tries to cut back in. He loses position to Adam, but cuts off the run by Max Gunther. And a big blink out of Harry. About the time Avery was trying to set up position on him, he started blinking. Avery had to back off. Harry's starting to blink again. Walker trying to close in. Barker now in 4th. Sorensen and Gunther battling it out going into turn 1. Gunther can't get position yet. Gunther is definitely getting the better run off the turn. Sorensen not going to be able to hold him off forever. Barker currently sits in 4th, Avery in 3rd, Harry in 2nd. Giancarlo continuing to check out his lead now just shy of 8 seconds. Adam Barker sits back in 4th, closing in on Avery. Avery still trying to get position again on Harry. Max Gunther trying to get position now on Nick Sorensen as they go onto the front stretch. He's got to run off the final turn. Can he make something happen? He ducks down to the inside. Gunther looks inside of Sorensen going off into 1. They are side by side. Sorensen pulls back ahead coming through 2. Avery trying to hold off Adam Barker as he attacks Harry Volsmere. Definitely having to watch that back pump or that back mirror. Avery trying to set up position as they come to the end of the back straightaway. Can't get there. Giancarlo, meanwhile, just out for a Sunday cruise. His lead almost 9 seconds now. Avery Walker about to be under attack from Adam Barker. Oh, Adam a little squirrely coming through the final section. Loses a little bit of ground there and opens the door. Nick Sorensen may be able to close in here. 4 minutes left to go in race 1. Simon Zier currently runs in 7th. Jason Miller back in 8th. The BMW and Mercedes struggling here this morning. Obviously, the BMW having trouble getting into turn 1. Avery still trying to set up on Harry for second. Adam still lurking in third. Sorensen and Gunther starting to close back in on this battle. They had lost a little bit of ground when they got side by side. Now starting to close back in. Avery almost gets a run. Can he do something down the front straightaway here? Whoa! Harry tries to break the draft, but I think he got the inside wall in the process. Trying to look at that right front on Harry's car. Does look like he might have kissed that inside wall. But did pull a little bit of a gap here on Avery and Adam. Giancarlo, meanwhile, way out front, just cruising with a 10.4 second lead. They continue to battle behind him. Now he'll have to come from 7th in race 2. They come back down toward the front stretch here. It has definitely been an interesting battle since the drop of the green. Giancarlo obviously walking away from the field, but the battle from second on back has been non-stop excitement. Adam Barker tries to outbrake him into turn 1, loses some momentum. Avery pulls right back to Harry's back bumper. Oh, Sorensen and Gunther going at it again. Giancarlo still way out front. No issues for him this morning. Avery trying to set up to the inside, coming into the back straightaway. Can't get there. Big question here is, can Harry hold him off? Giancarlo coming out of the final turn. Should be seeing the white flag this time. And, oh, Harry Volsmir has crashed. Harry gets too much of the bump right in front of Avery. Avery gets taken out with Harry. Adam Barker now up to second. Sorensen now into third. Gunther in fourth. Harry now in fifth. Simon Zierk. Oh, Simon battling it out with Harry. Avery on pit road in sixth. Jason Miller may move up. Jason Miller now to seventh. Avery in eighth. Adam Barker in second puts a couple of positions on Max Gunther. Two of the top points contenders. And Giancarlo working on pulling himself up into the top five here late in the season. Giancarlo through the final section. Giancarlo out of the final turn is going to win again. Win number 7 on the season. Adam Barker coming out of the final turn. He is going to finish in second with Nick Sorensen finishing in third. Let's see if we can get a word with our top 3. Hey Nick, it's Doug. You got me?
What's up, Doug?
Hey man, that was a wild race and a lot of battling for you.
That was the craziest race I've been in all year. It was awesome.
It looked like a ton of fun. I think you were constantly battling with... Oh, now Adam sends you around.
Yeah.
You were constantly having to battle with somebody, not a minute to rest throughout that one.
Yeah, that was awesome. Everybody was so close this race that we were trying everything we could. One, to keep it on track, and two, to get around. Fun race, that's for sure.
Well, going into race 2, you're going to start from a little further back, but obviously you've got the battling part of this one figured out, so good luck, buddy.
Yep, thanks, Doug.
All right, Adam Barker comes home in second. Hey, Adam, it's Doug. You got me?
Hey, Doug, how we doing?
Hey, good. For a guy who was struggling here early on, you definitely pulled off a great finish.
Yeah, I don't know how I managed to do that. Some of those fights were pretty fun at like 20 FPS, so it was interesting going down the inside of 2 spinning cars, which I couldn't really understand where they were going. Yeah, it was a good race, just clean for me. A little mistake on the first lap, and then just trying to stick with them, and fortunately everyone made a mistake.
Yeah, I do have a question in the comments. Some dude named Eric McCready, I don't know if you know him. He said, how much did Adam pay Harry for that move?
Don't worry, Eric's some troll online.
I've heard that about that name before. I heard he has a nice mullet though.
Yeah, great mullet. Yeah, it was a nice. It was a lot of pressure on Harry. He was really getting that rear end to step out sometimes.
Yeah, you guys put on one heck of a battle up there.
Yeah, I was sweating there. They were making me work for what could have been, I think, 8th place at one point in that train. So it was really good.
Well, congratulations and good luck in the second one.
Thank you very much.
And for our winner, let's see. Giancarlo, I believe that is win number 7 this season. For a guy who misses half the season, you're not doing too bad.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it, Doug. It was a lot of just get through the first lap, try to pull away, and then I think everybody was fighting behind. So it seems like this is a great track for some nose to tail racing. So I'm really looking forward to that in the next one.
I have to say, it's going to be interesting. You didn't have to get into any battles. You obviously just shot to the lead right from the drop of the green, but now you've got to fight your way from 7th place. And knowing how those battles were going behind you, are you concerned at all?
I don't think so. I think everybody, we all race very well together. And always have some great side-by-side action. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun.
All right, I need to get your comments. Obviously, there on the last couple of laps, there were a few incidents, and there's apparently some troll watching named Eric McCready, who was asking how much Adam paid Harry for the incident that took out a couple of them. So, do you have any thoughts on that?
A lot of money. A lot of money. Everybody's in cahoots with each other in this league. Obviously, there's some subtle teammates. No, I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it was like a mistake or something. Just didn't go their way.
It was. You know how trolls are. They get online and comment about stuff, and now he's talking about soccer stuff. You'll have to tell Adam to go read the Facebook comments.
Yeah, Eric, I'm looking forward to racing with you again soon.
All right, man. Great job with the win, and we'll see if you can pull it off again.
Thanks, Doug.
So, Giancarlo gets race 1. McMullet, great to have you watching, buddy. Let's get McMullet's thoughts on race 2. Going from Giancarlo has to come from 7th. Can he get it done? They've got a minute left to go in the break, and then we will go racing again. Adam Barker does extend his points lead just a little bit during that race over Max. Looks like he gains about 4 points on Max in race number 2. Good morning, Cody. How's it going, buddy? Seeing how that race was a non-stop battle, race 2 is probably going to be much the same, especially with Giancarlo coming from behind and the guys that finished in the top 3 having to start from 5th, 6th, and 7th. This one's going to be interesting for sure. Turn 1 could get very, very exciting this morning. And hey, just a quick personal note, because a lot of leagues are off for the next few weeks, expect some evenings to see me, and maybe we'll get Angie back in the car a few times as well, but I am definitely going to be getting some racing in over the next few weeks. All right, folks, race number 2. Jason Miller and Simon Zierk have the front row. Harry Volsmir, Max Gunther will start on the second row. Nick Sorensen, Adam Barker on the third row. Giancarlo starts in 7th. Avery Walker is going to start back in 8th. He finished that race on pit road. This is going to get interesting. Cody, you definitely should join these guys. Great group of guys, a lot of fun to talk to. They are great to race with. If you like endurance races, they go to all of them and they'll get you all in one of their teams. A great bunch of guys, and they are always helping each other. Everybody rolling for the warm-up lap. Quick check of the track temp. Let's see if it's gone up at all. No, it looks like it's actually gone down a few degrees, now down to 81 degrees, 76 degree air temperature. Yep, Cody, I will shoot it over as soon as this is over, bud. And Eric McCready, I know you're watching. Hopefully you'll be back next week as well, but McMullet, prediction for race 2, who's going to get it? 40-minute race. They will have to make a pit stop, even though for the first time ever last week we saw a driver pull off stretching the fuel and pulling off the win. Max Gunther, I don't think he can do that again. Simon Zierk merging with the pace car there for a moment. Definitely going to be an interesting start with this one going into turn 1. And our current points leader, Adam Barker, starting back in 6th, trying to fight his way back up. He's got to keep Max Gunther currently starting in 4th. He's got to try and keep Max behind him all morning. Going into the last race of the season next week at Red Bull Ring, it's going to be a close points battle. Giancarlo back in 7th, Avery in 8th, 2 of the fastest in race 1. Have a long way to go to get back to the front. Adam Barker having graphical issues coming through this section where it drops down to like 30 frames a minute through here. Could make for some interesting moves, especially when you consider how it went when he came through there. That would be cool. Pace car is in. Jason Miller leads him down. He's going to fire. Green flag is in the air. It would be fun to bump the pace car around. Harry Volschmier dropping real low. They're going to go 3 wide into 1. Jason Miller clears. Harry into 2nd, Max Gunther into 3rd. Everybody behind stays in place. Harry down to the inside on Simon for 2nd. Max uses the open door, can't get there. Now Max is going to make the move for 3rd. We've got 3 wide at the back. As Avery comes by Giancarlo, Nick Sorensen now back there. It has been a shakeup since the start of this one. Avery Walker already up into 5th, Adam up to 4th. Jason Miller still holding on to 2nd place. Simon Zierk on the attack, but Harry Volschmier has gone to the lead. And Harry is going to end up leading lap number 1 here. Harry swept at Snetterton this year, looking to get another win. It'll be his 3rd win of the season. Meanwhile, there is a big battle going on for 3rd on back as Adam Barker now into 3rd, Simon back to 4th, Avery and Giancarlo battling right behind. Nick Sorensen is right there with him, and Max has somehow drifted all the way back. Don't expect Max or Nick Sorensen to stay back there long, but what a run by Jason Miller so far, holding on to 2nd place. Looks like Adam Barker is trying to set up. This is the section he has the problems in. Nick Sorensen just went off track. Looks like he might have gone wide into the grass. Let's see. Nick just getting out there in the grass, managing to hold on to it. But it does allow Max Gunther to pull back up. Meanwhile, Harry Volschmier up front setting the fastest lap. Jason Miller now back to 4th as Adam Barker goes to 2nd and Simon to 3rd. Now Jason about to have his hands full. Here comes Giancarlo. Oh, and a bobble out of Avery. Max trying to make it 3 wide through there. Harry currently has a 2.5 second lead. Adam Barker trying to run him down. Avery and Giancarlo making some gutsy moves coming up through the field here. Max slips back into 8th place again. He has been, wow. He has picked up positions only to go backwards. Avery has gone off track. Avery got a massive slowdown here. Oh, Avery slides way wide off into the grass. Has to gather it up, gets back out on track, but loses a ton of time and momentum. Still a 4-car battle back at the second half of the pack. Avery Walker now pulling back up into 5th. Meanwhile, Giancarlo is now up to 4th, setting his sights on Simon Zierk. Adam Barker just set the fastest lap of the race in 2nd place. He is currently trying to run down our leader, Harry Volchmere, who is out front by 2.3 seconds. And you know, Cody, I've had this thought. I've even sent an email to iRacing about that. For week 13, they really should randomly, in unofficial races, randomly make the pace car solid. So all those people that go mess around with it in just some random race, all of a sudden they hit it. That would be hilarious to watch. Giancarlo battling it out with Simon Zierk. Simon did say the BMW was not great this morning, but he has had a great start to race 2 so far. Currently running in 4th, Jason Miller has now drifted back to 8th place after battling everybody and starting up front. Jason definitely having a great race this morning. Despite having drifted to the back, one of his best starts, and did a great job holding everybody off. Sorensen has gone off track. Through turn 1, through turn 2, goes wide out of turn 2. A little bit of a drift, gets it back out on track. We'll have a little bit of a slowdown, but should be okay. Adam Barker continuing to close down the gap on Harry Volsmere. Giancarlo back in 3rd is closing in on both of them. Simon Zierk holds on to 4th. Nick Sorensen in 5th. Max Gunther now up to 6th, all over Sorensen's back bumper. Max has got to get up there and close the gap, be right with Adam, if not in front of him, to have a shot at the title next week. Sorensen as well needs to get up there past Adam Barker. With Adam finishing 2nd in race number 1, he does open up his points lead just a little bit. It's going to be a close battle going into the final race. This might be the closest battle we've had at the end of a season in over a year. Late last year, we had the battle between Yuho and Giancarlo that came down to the last race. May have another last race points battle here this season. Avery Walker trying to get back around Max Gunther. Harry Volsmere still out front, but Adam Barker is closing now 1.5 seconds back. Giancarlo also closing in less than 2 seconds behind Adam. Giancarlo trying to get the sweep of the morning. Giancarlo has swept two races this season. Road America, the first race of the season, and again a couple of weeks ago at Suzuka. Giancarlo just set the fastest lap of the race last time by as well. Adam chipping away at the lead by Harry. Meanwhile, Simon Zierk by himself for the moment. Sorensen now has a little breathing room in 5th. Avery Walker up to 6th. Max Gunther still with him in 7th. Jason Miller still back there running 8th. Giancarlo now less than a second behind Adam Barker. 2.5 seconds back from our leader. Once these two get hooked up, expect them to close in even faster. Out of the final turn, Adam Barker sets his sights on the leader. Simon Zierk back and forth. Nick Sorensen has caught him. Sorensen right to the bumper as they go off into turn 1. Nick trying to set up position and get to the inside. He almost gets the nose in. Down that back straightaway, this is where the BMW will open up a bit of an advantage on the straights, but it's not going to be enough. And meanwhile, Avery Walker and Max Gunther are closing in on Simon and Nick. Harry up front, still trying to hold on and maintain his lead. Adam Barker in second, though, now has Giancarlo right there with him. Simon Zierk, Nick Sorensen still nose to tail. Avery Walker and Max Gunther closing in on them. Adam Barker has crashed. Adam just gets loose coming through that first section of track. Goes around, backs it up to let everybody by. Adam's going to lose a lot of ground here. Almost gets into Simon. Adam getting it back up to speed. He drifts back into 7th place. Adam's got a lot of work to do now. And also his 2 key competitors in the title fight right in front of him. Max Gunther, Avery Walker right there. Sorensen came into this morning 3rd in points. Currently runs in 3rd. Or in 4th, excuse me. Meanwhile, Giancarlo has gotten by and gone to 2nd place. Now sets his sights on the leader as Max Gunther is on pit road for his fuel stop. Harry out front has a 1.5 second lead, but it is shrinking quickly. Giancarlo is on the hunt. Simon Zierk in third, still has Nick Sorensen trying to get by. Now Avery Walker is there. Adam Barker is closing in. Max Gunther is on his way back off of pit road. Fueled up, Max can go the distance from here. Simon currently in third place, trying to hold on to that podium position. And here we go. Sorensen looks down to the inside as they go off towards turn one. Side-by-side battle through turn two, but here goes Sorensen up into third. Avery lurks in fifth and Adam in sixth. Sorensen, meanwhile, quickly pulling away from Simon. Avery now looks down to the inside. Adam Barker's going to try and go through the open door. It's a side-by-side battle through the infield, but here goes Avery now to fourth. Adam couldn't take advantage through there. He's going to have to find another place to pass. Simon still trying to fight back as they go through the final two turns. Adam using every bit of the track possible in the slipstream. As they go off towards turn one, Adam makes a move down to the inside on Simon. Can't get there, doesn't have the momentum. Avery now up into fourth, Sorensen in third. Giancarlo still back in second, but has caught up to Harry, now just a half second behind. They do a 20-minute sprint race, Cody, and then a 40-minute endurance race. Harry now having to get very defensive now that Giancarlo is on his bumper. Giancarlo dominated race one. He has had to fight his way from 7th place. Adam Barker has gone off track. Oh, Adam goes wide, catches just enough of the grass to send him around. Has to recover back out on the track, but loses a lot of positions and a lot of time. Nick Sorensen gives up position to come to pit road. Adam currently runs in 5th, Simon Zierk in 4th, Avery in 3rd. Giancarlo and Harry Volsmere continue to battle for the lead. Giancarlo closing right up to Harry's back bumper. We saw Harry very aggressive in race one, trying to break the draft. Will we see that here? Giancarlo right to the back bumper. He moves down to the inside as they go off to turn 1. They are even going into 1. Oh, Harry gets loose. Giancarlo managing to avoid him. Harry holds him off for another lap. Jason Miller now on pit road. Avery Walker back in third, trying to make up some ground on the top 2. Simon Zierk in 4th. Adam Barker currently runs in 5th. The top 5 have not been in for their stops yet. Giancarlo is caught back up to Harry Volsmere. Now going to make the attack again down the front straightaway. He shifts over to get ready for turn 1. Harry has a bit of an advantage off into turn 1, but Giancarlo still keeping the nose. Outside can't do it though. Harry is not making it easy for Giancarlo here. Simon Zierk sits back in 4th. Avery in 3rd, not gaining much ground on the leaders. Adam Barker in 5th, trying to close in on Simon Zierk. Sorensen has completed his stop. Max has completed his, and Jason Miller completed theirs. Nick in 5th. Max in 6th, Jason in 7th. Giancarlo still trying to find a way to get the lead here. Giancarlo seems to carry a lot more momentum off that final turn, but this time does not get the run. Avery back in 3rd is actually starting to gain ground on the top 2, but he's over 9 seconds behind. Adam Barker 8.5 seconds behind Simon Zierk at the moment. Sorensen sits in 6th. 2 of the top contenders now sitting 6th and 7th place. They have to hope that their stops were faster than whatever Adam comes up with, and they can make up some ground on him there. Giancarlo looking to get the run again here on the front straightaway. He shoots down to the inside. Looks like Harry outbreaks him into turn 1. Simon Zierk gives up 5th. He is on pit road. Giancarlo getting a lot more aggressive here, looking for a pass. Giancarlo now the outside has the nose ahead. Now he has the inside line coming through here. It's going to be a back and forth. Harry manages to pull ahead again. Harry looking for his third win of the season here this morning. Definitely has the car to get it done. Meanwhile, Avery Walker continues to close in on the top two. That gap now down to 7.5 seconds. He is closing in rapidly. The lone Ferrari in the field definitely has some speed here at Indy. Adam Barker back in fourth. Trying to hold on to his points lead here this morning. Sorensen in fifth. Gunther in sixth. Gunther came into this morning second in points. Sorensen third. Worth noting, Harry came into this morning 12th in points. Should move himself into the top 10 here. Giancarlo still trying to get that run off the final turn. He closes the gap back in. He gets side by side, but not enough momentum that time. Giancarlo just set the fastest lap of the... Adam Barker is going off track again. Adam Barker definitely struggling here this morning. Race 1 went really well for him, but race 2, he's having a lot of issues. He manages to keep it off the wall, though. Adam Barker still in fourth, but still has to hit a pit stop. Could be a big problem here. Off the final turn, can Giancarlo make it happen this time? He's got the run. He looks to the inside. Will it be enough? No. Top 4 still have to go to pit road for fuel here. Meanwhile, Avery Walker now 8 seconds behind the top 2. Jason Miller has had a crash. Jason, who's had a clean morning almost all morning long, just gets a little loose coming through that turn. Manages to get the car rolling back out on track. Looks like Avery Walker might be losing just a little bit of time to the top 2 at the moment. After picking up a lot of time on those two over the last few laps, this last couple of laps has lost a little bit of ground. Giancarlo and Harry give up the top 2 spots there on pit road. Avery Walker now claims the lead as he goes by him on pit road. He will still have to stop. Adam Barker is on pit road. Avery Walker will be the last driver to come to pit road. Then we'll see how things shake out here. This battle could be decided on pit road as Giancarlo gets to his stop. Giancarlo is rolling first. He's going to come by Harry on pit road. Harry's rolling. Giancarlo off pit road. Jason Miller right there. He's going to get into the mix. He moves over, lets Harry get back by, but Giancarlo back out in front. Avery Walker, the last driver to hit pit road. Here he comes. Will that extra lap be enough that he can top off on fuel? And can he have a quick enough pit stop to maintain the lead? Giancarlo quickly opening up a 1.7 second gap on Harry in second. Sorensen in third, trying to come around the lap car of Jason Miller. Sorry, Sorensen is back in fourth. Avery still scored in the lead. He just now hits his pit box as Giancarlo comes down the front straightaway. Avery is not rolling yet. He's going to drift back to second, third. Avery is rolling. He is back to fourth. Fifth. It's going to be close. Can Simon get past him? Looks like Avery's going to slip back into fifth place. Adam Barker, the points leader, meanwhile, with all the issues he has had, is now back in seventh place. And Giancarlo, looking for the sweep, is back in the lead. Now, that was a bit of a surprise. We'll have to see after the race. I know he stretched it further than anybody else, but oh, and he gets a little bit of the grass there, but I don't know if he ran out of fuel on that one or not. Avery does have his sights set on Max Gunther, just 2.5 seconds ahead. Sorensen currently sits in third. So the top three in points having a bit of a reversal in fortunes in race number 2. Adam Barker, who had the points lead, currently runs in 7th place. Max Gunther, who came into this morning second in points, currently sitting 4th. Sorensen, who came in this morning third in points, currently running in third. Sorensen definitely the most to gain here in race 2. Harry Volsmir also going to make up a lot of ground here in the points this morning after the runs he is having. Harry currently sits in second, but now 3.3 seconds behind Giancarlo. Giancarlo looking for race win number 8 on the season. Really impressive when you consider He has been in 12 races, and if he wins this one, it'll be his 8th win of the season. Equally impressive given the fact he changed cars coming into this season from the Lambo. The Lambo being the car he was so dominant in every championship season he had before. Another interesting note on the championship, if Adam Barker wins, it'll be the first time in GT3 NSS history that a driver has won 3 consecutive titles. Giancarlo has only been able to do it 2 times in a row. But Nick Sorensen looking to make that race a close one going into next week at Red Bull. The points gap is definitely going to be closed up with that final race. Sorensen now looking for second place, but Harry has been tough to pass this morning. Harry dropping to the bottom, breaking the draft and forcing Sorensen to the outside. Sorensen outbreaks him into 1. Harry tries to fight back, but it wasn't enough. Harry's strategy did not work this time. Harry did that same move in race 1 and managed to keep cars behind him, but this time it didn't work. Sorensen saw it coming and knew how to beat it. Nick Sorensen now to second place. And with Max Gunther running in 4th place, that does give Sorensen second in the points. And closes down the gap to Adam Barker by close to 20 points. It may come down to who has the best finish in the races next Sunday morning as to who the champion is. Giancarlo, meanwhile, out front with a 5-second lead over Sorensen. Harry Curley runs in 3rd. Max Gunther in 4th. Avery Walker in 5th. Interesting note, this will be the first week of the season of races that Avery has been in that he will not have a second place finish. Avery has raced 4 previous weeks, has finished second at least once. Actually, of those 8 races, there's only been 1 time he hasn't finished second. Race 1 at Road Atlanta, he finished 3rd. A lot of drivers said this morning that they were just keeping second place warm, and now that Avery was back, he could reclaim it. That has not been the case this morning. However, Avery running in 5th place, closing in on Max Gunther. Adam Barker still riding back in 7th, but has a run on Simon Zierk, trying to take 6th. Two minutes left to go for Giancarlo. He should get the white flag next time by. His lead now 5.1 seconds over Sorensen. Sorensen has pulled a 1.8 second gap on Harry in 3rd. Max back in 4th, 3 seconds behind. Avery in 5th, closing in on Max. Simon Zierk in 6th has his hands full. Adam Barker looks to the inside here. Max said that BMW was not good here at Indy. Adam has said he is struggling with the Porsche here this morning. Both drivers seem to be having issues in race 2. Giancarlo back off into turn 1. Sorensen now securely in second. Harry's got a big lead in third. Max trying to close in. Avery trying to close in on Max. Simon still holding Adam off for the moment. Adam's going to make the move to the outside. He's got the inside line through turn 2. Can he get it done? Into 3. Adam still on the outside. They're still even. Adam trying to cross back over. Can't get the position yet. Simon giving him a heck of a run here. And here comes Giancarlo through the final turn. He'll sweep again. Giancarlo wins the second race at Indy. Sorensen comes home in second. And Harry finishes third. What a hard-fought finish for him. Let's talk to our top 3, starting with doesn't look like Harry's actually available to talk to. So we'll get a word with Nick Sorensen. Hey Nick, it's Doug. You got me?
What's up, Doug?
Hey, great morning for you overall. What a run in race 2.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Tough race in there in the long one. Not as much excitement, but was able to do some good things.
It looked like you had a few good battles, and oh boy, we're going to see some big ones here in a second. It looked like you had a few battles there, and it got a little dicey 1 or 2 times early on.
Yeah, it did. We had similar to the first race, we were trying to feel ourselves out, and then as soon as we got spread out, was able to do some better laps.
It was a little bit different, but man, the strategy played off. The fuel stops were definitely interesting. You were one of the earlier ones to go to pit road.
Yeah, I just made a quick decision to go in, and then when I got out there, it was all by myself, so I just concentrated on hitting my marks and trying to do fast laps. I really didn't know where I was, like what position I was in. I couldn't see anybody, so I was just trying to be as consistent as I could, and then all of a sudden they're in second place at the end.
You and Harry put on quite a battle there as well. It was very difficult, and Harry pulled that same move going off into turn 1 in race 1, dropping down to the bottom and forcing you to go to the outside. You were the only person to make the move on him to the outside all morning.
Oh yeah, that's cool then. Yeah, I just braked a little bit later there, and then just tried to keep it tight on the inside, going left. That way I didn't get into him and knock him out. But yeah, I was glad I had made that stick.
Well, man, great job this morning. Congratulations. Another great finish, and I do believe you're going to pull up to second in points after this one.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to check that out, and that's a good result. 2 races, staying up there in the points.
Yep, great job. Looking forward to the season finale next week.
All right, thanks, Doug. See ya.
See ya. All right, let's see if we can talk to our winner. Giancarlo, is it just the weeks you decide to show up, you're just going to sweep both of them?
Probably not. That was fantastic racing. That was a lot of fun, especially that second one. Harry was a beast on defense. I was trying to send it left, right, and center, and he just kept his car perfectly placed every time, and I could never get by him.
saw him you would get a massive run out of that final turn, but man, he just seemed to outbreak you into turn one, and you just never could get position. It took forever to make something happen. And I was wondering, do you think had you not beat him on pit road, would you have been able to beat him on track?
Honestly, doubt it. I think being behind him, I was fortunate to be able to save some fuel, but I tried my all there for those moves. We even went side by side through that S section, and I still couldn't get it done. So yeah, I think the fuel is what saved me, but that was fantastic racing.
8 wins out of 12 races this season, a 75% win percentage there. You've got to be happy with, despite not being here in contention for the title, you got to be happy with the way that's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely happy for sure. Yeah, and we'll wrap it up next week, and then we'll see what happens next season.
Well, buddy, congratulations. 2 wins in a row this morning, and great job.
Thanks, Doug.
Giancarlo gets another sweep on the morning, although if we had to pick a driver that was hardest to beat, it would have been Harry this morning. Sorry we couldn't get a word with him, but Harry did an amazing job fighting everybody off this morning. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Looking forward to the season finale next Sunday morning, but tonight, BRR's All-Star event. You're not going to want to miss that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you had as much fun as we did. Have a great night, y'all.
Can't race. I was just faster because I was by myself and started concentrating more on the line and brakes. The first race we were just trying not to crash into each other.